Hello everybody, it's Friday night and it is Weekender time once more, and we have another jam-packed, fun-filled show for you from all across the gaming tabletop industry. This week, there is no prize, because this week we're running the Doomed Week over on tabletop.com and here on YouTube. There are 3 prizes of the Doomed to pick up. There are 2 on tabletop, 1 specifically for our Cultic Games members, 1 for on tabletop commenters, and 1 here on YouTube. So if you want a chance to win any of those, then comment on any of the Doomed Week videos, gameplay, interviews, and kit bashing. Enough of that. It's time to get on with the show. Sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello, everybody. Today I'm joined by Shay, Justin, and Ben.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm attempting to have silly voices at the start of every weekend now. That's what I'm going to go with. So,
it's going to be a thing.
Yes. Yes.
No, couldn't be a thing at all.
I get muted every single time now, probably. There we go.
It's the best way to do it. We are here once again to bring you through a gentle meander of a week's worth of news.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the big news this week, Shay? Has it been the ass kicking we've received from the Doomed?
Could be that. That's one of the pieces of news.
No, it does. It does feel that way.
The monsters are horrifying.
Yep.
You didn't have to bloody
No, I had to edit it.
with them.
I had to edit it though. I had to watch you slowly getting hammered into the ground by different.
No. For you,
They
however
were
you
coming
live.
for us, mother. If you haven't seen it, the Doomed is theoretically apocalyptic horror hunting. I don't know who's hunting who. We certainly weren't hunting the horrors.
No.
But you can come over to On Tabletop and check out the Doomed. Technically, I own this, because I've got the copy they sent to the studio and you're not having it back. I reckon playability's right up there. It's a really nice book. I like the writing and the art direction. Replayability. We've done a lot of replayability, haven't we, Shay?
We have, yeah. We love it, Jerry.
I'll give that 2 across the board. However, if you want to see more than just me clicking these buttons, you can check out interviews, some Let's Plays. There's even some kit bashing videos, and another interview tomorrow, actually.
Saturday we have a 4th Let's Play, which is you guys wrapping up the campaign, and then
Right.
Sunday.
Oh, it's Sunday, is it? All right, not tomorrow then. Sunday, 2 days away.
Lloyd spaced it out a little bit further, so we had something every day.
Further away, harder to reach. Yes, so you'll be able to find out all about the Doomed if you're interested in just seeing how horrific a horror can be.
God, yeah.
The answer is very.
There's been quite a few people in the comments that I've seen on YouTube who have been tapping away and being like, I can't believe this game is so hard. I can't wait to give it a go, kind of thing. Like the challenge of it. So yeah, kind of cool.
It's like Dark Souls. That's our picture.
Yeah.
Video game wise, it's like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that you actually have to look at your opponent and go, now we could fight. Maybe we don't want to.
Often we did fight at the start.
Yeah.
In
And then
games,
regret
in games
that.
you don't get to see. We did a lot of going, oh, it's a standard scenario. It's a standard game. There just happens to be a monster in the middle. Jesus, that's a bad idea. I'll just say. Competitive collaboration, I think, is definitely the way to go. In fact, I'll go one step further, because I don't think I mentioned this on any of the videos, even at the wrap up at the end. I think if you're playing it for the first time, play your first couple of games with just conflicts, just you against your opponent and regular scenarios. It gives you a chance to learn the mechanics, learn the game a bit, and get some kit, get some upgrades before you stumble across your first horror in the jungle that will rip you apart. At least you might have a chance of killing it. Maybe. Anyway.
I do like the fact that it's a game system where it's just like 6-ish inches is your movement.
Yeah. Some people love that. I see some people are having a stroke over it. I can't take it.
I like
it. I can't work. I just measure 6 inches then. Yeah, your choice is yours. It gives you the option. I'd like not having to measure, just kind of guesstimate, go, yeah, that's about far enough.
That seems about right.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to, as long as you can't streak across the board in one go,
Mm.
without hitting something, because you're always moving in sort of straight lines and jumping over things, you're more or less grand, so don't worry about it.
I will say the turn ones did feel a little bit slow, but I know that's because you were explaining stuff and talking to camera. So if you're just playing it yourself, it probably will be a bit quicker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you don't have to explain things to people watching you, life's much faster.
Yeah.
Much faster. He didn't like the sound of that, apparently. He left. Oh, well. I'm sure.
He must be a 40k player.
Yeah. That's it. I don't know where he got the idea from. While we're waiting on him rejoining, there's another apocalyptic thing coming from a community member and a friend of the channel.
So Chris Caesar, who a lot of people will know, has worked on the Justice and Dragons comics for us, which has been a great long-running series where we've had some very funny takes on our personalities throughout the years, and also some interesting looks into Chris's own psyche at the same time as well. Well, he's working on a new game, new role-playing game with his his brother Jack, and also another one of their team members called Morgan, alongside the artist Mortis Krebs as well. And they're going to be bringing to Kickstarter in October the game called Doomsong. So Doomsong is listed as a biblical apocalypse game, where you'll be taking on the role of the gravediggers who have to make sure that you look after the dead within this world before things go bad. But obviously, in the midst of a biblical apocalypse, that does tend to mean that things aren't quite as they seem. If you are a fan of the aesthetic and the feel of games like Mörkburg and stuff like that from the guys at Free League, this is definitely kind of in your wheelhouse, I would suggest. I've had a look through the core book that they sort of sent through as a demo copy, which will be available to more people next week. So look out for that. And it is a gorgeous piece of art and adventuring text at the same time. There's some really fun stuff in there for creating interesting characters. There's a cool demo adventure for you to play through. And the Kickstarter is going to be dealing with both the core book, but also Lord Have Mercy Upon Us, which is the adventure written by Morgan, which is your sort of first entry into the world that they've created if you wanted to go down that route and have something written for you rather than coming up with something yourself. So keep an eye out for this one. And as I say, the Caesars and also the rest of their crew have done some amazing work in the past on a whole range of different projects, from River Horse and beyond. I was thinking of Doctor Who because someone nearby to me talked about magic and Doctor Who earlier. There we go. But yeah, definitely look out for it and see what you think. It looks really cool. So yeah,
I do like.
When do we get to play?
Look at that.
Well, hopefully we'll get to do a Let's Play in the near future. We are very much looking forward to that. It looks really cool, and I think they've said they're going to run us through one, which could be very nice. So yeah,
Dibs on the healer.
The healer in a biblical apocalypse.
I like how you think there will be a healer.
Yeah,
that's delightful. Here's your spade. Now get digging. It's the best way to do it. Do it before the ocean washes away the dirt and there's no room left.
Yeah.
I mean, I was assuming I would just have like, I think a paraffin just to throw at someone and go, I will heal you with fire.
That is sometimes the best way to deal with it.
You're burnt to death.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
get out early, beat the rush, that type of thing.
But that's coming up soon, so watch out for that. But as I say, really fun because Chris has been working on Justice and Dragons with us for a really long time. So definitely go and give this one a look and see what you think. Going to be more previews over the next couple of weeks and months. So yeah,
apocalyptic goodness. I like it
in spades.
Yeah. Well, our Indie of the Week also has some apocalyptic goodness.
What are these segues? God.
Maybe even a bit of post-apocalyptic goodness as well.
Even better.
But I've picked this because I'm a whore for the tiny fighting men, and the tinier the better. And when I find somebody who's got a ton of tiny things in tinier scales, then that just floats my boat because all of a sudden I can fill a tabletop.
So the more tiny they are, do they get more fighty?
Very much so.
That's how Napoleon worked.
The bigger the battle you can play. So Microworld games have been kicking away now for the best part of about 15 years. Started off importing a Oh, Dark Miniatures. Was that it from the UK? It was an old sci-fi 6mm range, which unfortunately is sadly defunct. You can't get it anymore. However, post just being an importer, Steve decided I'm going to go out and get some stuff cast. There's a whole host of things I really like. So started with 6mm fantasy and sort of expanded from there.
And shrank.
Expanded and shrank. Yeah, well, 15mm is a big expansion. There's a slight decrease with the 3mm stuff.
Whoa!
Some of these are bigger than others.
Oh, yes.
So
3mm.
You can paint 3mm.
It's really easy.
Delicately.
3mm is like it's scale creep. When I bought 3mm, it was called 2mm. No, it is though. I have a 2mm Indian army. Anyway, I digress. But there's a whole host of stuff for whatever you want to play with it, essentially. So we'll kick off with the fantasy because it is bigly big, which is great for things like fantastic battles and stuff like that. There's a whole host, as you can see here, of different. No, I just look like them. Different races that you can then deploy on the tabletop. So some have got more stuff in them than others. Some are more rounded, more well developed, and a few of them are also, as you can see, a little bit more historical adjacent. However, if you want to play things like War Master in 6mm for, not that 10mm poser scale nonsense, then you could maybe rock out the Fantasy Renaissance as your sort of empire troops.
Yeah.
Because they contain things like duelist with a witch hunter feel to them, or your armored pike, your lance-necked.
Great swords, yeah.
All of these things that you know and love. Gendarmes with sidearms, so your pistoliers in that case, little tiny pistoliers.
They're so small.
Look,
Teeny tiny.
he's got his little pig face bastinets all up. They have this little tiny visor. Ooh, I love them. What? Shut up.
There's your Reichsguard.
There's your Reichsguard on foot.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them with their mighty movement of 3 inches a turn. I'll teach you.
3 inches for something that small. That's fast.
That is fast. Well,
Natural sprinters.
3 inches. That would have been back in Warhammer days in the old 28mm. In very small scale, they probably move even further. Because in War Master, you can move multiple times. But as you can see, the ranges are extensive for some. Like if I push on a bit further here, look at them filthy gunners. Here we go. Your artillery.
Kablamo.
Yeah, as you say, blammo indeed. Look, not only a cannon, but also a big organ cannon or volley gun, depending on your point of view.
It'll blast a volley gun.
Which is, obviously perfect if you want to play a Warhammer-esque game in a smaller scale, or if you want to play Italian Wars and stuff like that in around the Renaissance. You're not quite von Meinhof's Burning Cavalcade of Death, but not a million miles away. Just gotta love the old names. If I skip back to where were we? There's our fantasy dwarves. Away with you. Look.
Also looks cool.
The fortress golems.
Oh.
And bear riders, like nature intended.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like that.
Look at the tiny little dwarves with him. Hello.
He's got cannon shoulders. Oh.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a couple of dwarves mounted in those.
He's
turrets.
like a mech. He's just a big mech.
I want to be like him when I go old.
But I mean, excellent if you want to play Fantastic Battles, if you want to play War Master or Kings of War. Tiny scale, use him as one of the greater obsidian golems. Or not obsidian, that's naughty dwarves. Sorry, greater earth elemental.
Very
nothing
cool.
Casual.
Yeah,
but
I like that shows you gives you a much better idea of the scale as well, which I think is really cool. So like this is how big an actual dwarf is compared to this thing. That's very cool.
I'm pretty sure that's a 40mm square base it's sitting on because like most games should be on a 40mm square base at that scale. It just makes life easier when everything's on 40mm squares. Then I can play different games with them and not have to worry about things, which is always good. But
that's what they look like ranked up as well. That's cool. I like that.
Let's see a dwarf warrior.
So you get
is that what you want to see?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Oh my god, just the worst.
I'm
Also,
so
they're not strip bases either.
Yeah, you get a lot of them obviously for the price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty good.
it means if you're not playing, or if you're putting together units, you're not having to do that painting on strips, which I know some people dislike. It means you can be a bit more prosaic with your painting.
Yeah.
Although at 6 mil, you need to wind your neck in if you're doing that.
Just dabbing a little bit of paint on will be fine, I think. Yeah.
Fine, very much. If I spray them, dry brush them, and then paint in flesh in random places, it's all good.
Obviously, don't forget the beards if you're painting dwarfs. But
once it's been sprayed and dry brush, you're more or less okay with that.
Pretty much, I guess. Yeah.
Our Norks.
Well, Ben, I thought you had switched off to the horrible racist elves.
I do quite like elves nowadays.
Filth.
yeah.
Absolute filth.
Traitor.
Yep.
Got too many elves behind me now as well. Oh, God.
No. Yeah, as you can see, there's
Like those,
a whole host of what you would expect from fantasy games and races. So wyverns and chariots, cavalry, all of the expected. Some of the more obscure bits and pieces we'll have a quick look at. Firmament.
Hmm.
And then
What
bugbears.
has me quite curious after we're done with this is the 6 mil diesel punk.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're just starting with this because it's the most comprehensive of all of them.
Mole men.
So yes, mole men as an army. Mole men cav. Mole men mounted on giant mole things.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
I mean,
We can't hit things for toffee.
well, they
'cause
can't
we
see.
see.
But they get up close and then stab you up.
Yeah.
Or run into you with some sort of world shard cart. Who knows what that giant shard of the world is doing? But I suggest they put it back before something falls over or collapses.
I will assume there is some form of magical laser beam coming out of that.
Could
Probably,
be. It's
yeah.
entirely up to you.
A mole-based laser beam. Pew pew.
That, or that's their version of going to Specsavers.
And
Maybe.
here you can see a,
Stand behind it.
a great dinganeck, which is some sort of bizarre fantasy giant pangolin.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I want one.
It's great, isn't it? Look, you see it coming at you. I just think, I've got some videotapes to return.
I'm sorry, I destroyed your habitat.
Please don't spread any diseases. Please.
When you clicked on the Wilderness Alliance, I was expecting to see animals of farthing wood. That was
Oh,
what
no,
I was-
not Rhino Men. I mean, if you want to
Rhino Man.
if you want to recreate the Robin Hood from Disney,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
then you
Yeah.
too can do it with
Uh-huh.
Rhino Guards.
Amazing.
I mean, it's a big, beautiful world of fantasy out there. Why restrict yourself to racist elves all the time?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
There are so many other things, from monkeys, orangutans, silverback berserkers. I mean, it's just
Very cool.
It's just an awesome set of things.
Orangutan archers make sense as well because they've got big, strong arms. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would think.
Mm.
Bugbears. Everybody who's played any old school RPGs will have come across bugbears. We don't see them so much in fantasy wargaming.
No,
I
that's
don't know
true.
why. As far as a race goes,
Yeah.
you would
Yeah,
expect to see more
hobgoblins and bugbears. I'd love to see someone actually look at that as an army, a proper army again. That'd be really cool.
Possibly being hunted to extinction.
Maybe.
Every adventuring party goes after them.
That's
That'll
true.
arrive someday.
Yeah.
The woolly rhinos are interesting. This weird bat-looking thing at the front is
yeah.
particularly creepy. Creepy.
Need to find spammoths for Justin. That's the next step.
There were some in the orc army. You skip
Oh,
past them.
yeah.
They're right at the top. There's some of your standard furry-faced bugbears. Clubbing, stabbing, baiting, and shooting.
Yeah.
As bugbears are wont to do. It's all good in the hood.
Mm.
Go back.
Because, yeah, considering how militaristic and sort of like on the level most people do bugbears and things like D&D and stuff,
Mhm.
not but bugbears, hobgoblins, I would imagine we'd see more of them in kind of armies because
Yes.
it makes sense for them to have that kind of like martial force. But
So,
yes.
in amongst your demons, which are full of demons as you would expect, winged things, horned
The
things,
black
creepy
beasts.
things, the bloat beasts are my favorite because they're little tardigrades.
Oh, yeah.
No water bears.
Oh, God.
Coming for you, being poked forward by man.
Horrifying.
18 bloat beasts coming at you. Look at them, a face full of teeth.
Yeah.
Don't need an eye. Just
We
get
will eat
hurled
everything in
towards
front
you.
of us. Yeah. I love those. They're really cool.
The little hobgobs as well, with their gargantuan spide roars.
Yeah.
And troll
A
battle
troll
wagons.
battle wagon.
But yeah, like I say, the fantasy range, spectacular range.
Oh, yeah.
For people thinking about fantastic battles, it's a corker. And it works really well in 6 mil. So big games, or even just small games on a very small table, but you still get the feel of playing a massive rank and file mass battle game without having to take over 3.5 tables worth of space. So it's great. 6 mil
Take
sci-fi.
over the coffee table rather than the entire of the gaming hall. Yeah. So.
I'm trying to remember the sizing for a table, because it's based on the basing that you use.
Right.
So depending on how big your base is, then the table will need to increase proportionally. But you can play out a full mass battle game on a coffee table, because you keep your basing sort of 40 mil square and you're flying. What have I done? Oh yes, sci-fi. So sci-fi, there's a host of bits and pieces in here. Space rats. If, for example, you were playing something like, I don't know, small scale warpath, and you needed vermin, then you two could do it with your sci-fi Skaven coming at you.
They look a little bit too adorable, I think.
Well, you paint them all pink and go full clanger, pink with gold armor.
God. Just bring your whistle along with you. Yeah.
I was gonna paint them like white lab rats.
Oh, that would also be cool. Yeah.
Pinky,
Genetic experiments.
Brain.
They've even got specialists.
Yes, with what looks to be a Panzerfaust.
Yeah.
Space rats with grenade launcher, Panzerfaust, and some sort of flamer / whatever you want it to be gun, because it's 6 mil and nobody can get in that close to find out.
See, here's the thing,
That's the
you
best
could
way.
actually bring these out into a 28 mil game, because at 3 mil tall, they will be in
6
scale.
mil.
Well, in 6 mil, they will be very tiny on the table, but they will look in scale to 28 mil miniatures.
That's
true. Have your vermin and then have your little tiny space rats next to them.
It's just an awful lot of time, but people just stamping. You don't need to shoot anymore.
Why
Just
does the
stamp.
tiny thing have a gun? Why do you need a gun?
Don't deny me.
Everything needs a gun.
These are some of my
Dinosaurs.
favorites from their range.
Ben.
I love the
T-Rex
dinosaurs.
super heavy. What? Show me that.
There he is with his armor,
Oh.
his tiny space lasers.
These tiny
turret.
little hands.
Yep.
His tiny hands have become
I love
guns.
Best way, you don't need to reach them if you just shoot them in the face, and then you can eat them afterwards.
This is why we need the exodites. We need exodites to come back to 40k so we can have these lovely things.
Like that.
Yes.
Like elves mounted on raptors.
Yes.
Exodite dragon riders, I believe they were called back in the day. Back in the day.
Back in
So
the
much
day.
weirdness in history that a lot of people would never have heard of.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Those are really cool. I like
unusual
those.
dino things.
I think they do them as like regular dinos as well, don't they? Somewhere in their range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we won't have time to go through everything because you just won't get a chance.
Oh,
But
yeah. The entire show would be this.
Yeah. The Terrans have got some
So
absolutely
good.
beautiful things.
Wow, I'm loving the designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's very much right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
And the Infernus super heavy tank.
Oh yes,
Da-da-da.
gimme.
Look at that
Like
with
it,
all
love
its
it, want more of it.
wheels. Look at all.
Giving me mammoth tank vibes from
Yes.
Red alert.
Red Alert. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Halo because it didn't have a big tank. like that.
Scorpion tank.
Oh, right.
Scorpion.
Yeah.
I knew it was a creature. Anyway, have a look at
Oh,
that.
they're so cool. I really like those. Very nice.
There's a lot of 6
You
mil
get the
sci-fi
pack.
wargaming kicking around as well.
Yeah, definitely.
With these, how
These
many
can
are you getting in
slide
your
too.
pack?
It depends. So this one contains, what's that?
Three hulls.
Three
Yeah.
hulls
Three hulls,
for
yeah.
$12, which is about
But then you
$10.
can mix and match them depending on your weapon loadouts and stuff, which is cool. So I like that.
But then the Infantra, currently out of stock. Infantry are
Hoorah!
3, 6, 42.
Wow.
42 figs in
No wonder
infantry
they're
pack.
sold out.
I imagine it won't be long before they return.
It doesn't take much metal to cast those.
No.
I suppose. I like them a lot. They're very nice.
Dregs are your sort of chaosy beastmen
Usos. I see. I was thinking like rebels or something. I suppose they are rebels in
in many
a
respects.
form.
In many respects, they are.
Spoger.
Spoker. Now, I'm not saying Lloyd has anything to do with naming here, but if that's space ogres, then Lloyd is definitely responsible for naming these. Spokers.
I like the guy on the right.
Oh,
It looks like he's based on a squat model from back in the day, but just turned into an ogre. That's cool.
Big
like
cap
that.
and big belly.
Yeah, yeah.
Having a think.
Really
It's
nice.
Some of the new mechery sort of stuff.
Ooh.
Which is a bit more.
And a resin one as well, actually, which is quite cool.
Caddy designed, as you can see. So it's the future, they tell me.
So many guns.
I will resist. Don't worry. We'll resist. There is a paper tank
Annapurna.
that crops up in World of Tanks and things like that bears a stonking resemblance to this. I can't remember what it is, though, but it's ridiculous. I do know that. It's practically impervious to every bullet ever. Or every shell, rather. But it doesn't matter. Shoot it all you want. It won't go away. It just keeps trucking
It's not going
you.
anywhere.
Trucking toward you. And you can see there the casting. I mean, nice, crisp cast. I like the fact that since they are 6mm, they've thrown a bit of a wash over it so you can see it. But when you're painting that small spray, dry brush wash, walk away. You're done.
Yeah.
Done with life.
Yeah. Especially with speed paints now as well. You could make these look very good very quickly.
Could do. Yeah. Could do that.
Yeah.
Historical, only a few.
Ooh, their Warring State stuff is nice. I like that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know people who are very keen on the Warring States, especially as a period and geographic area that gets overlooked a lot.
Very much so. Yeah.
Look at them and their cheeky chariots.
They are really good. Their Warring State stuff is one of the slightly more relatively new ones, I think, as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
From my remembering. I mean, just look at that. That's so good. That's so good detail-wise for the small level of scale we're going for here. Yeah. Yeah,
you don't need a massive amount of time or effort to paint them because they've got a nice level of detail sculpted into them.
Mm-hmm.
You can sometimes get figures, especially in smaller scale, where you have to paint the detail on if you want the detail, which at 6mm is a pain in the hole for all concerned. So it's nice that you can just come in here and
you can see
very
the beards and moustaches and everything there,
which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to make my life easier. As you can see, a whole rake of various equipment and armament, which is excellent if you want to get playing in there. This, though, Diesel Punk is interesting. Micro Wasteland, more interesting. So Diesel Punk has got your very sort of Victorian sci-fi tanks on the moon.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
With that Jules Verne, everything's sort of bubbly or slammed together. It's a
send it up there and stick in the bicycle pump.
Yeah, it's an interesting design aesthetic, which is really nice and distinctive. A lot of which you used to see this sort of thing a lot, especially in 40k in the early days. You know, the more rounded sort of shapes, they all seem to have gone away in favor of big slab-sided things, which is sad.
Looks similar to some of the stuff you would have seen for Button Chronicles as well.
Yeah, actually, I suppose. Yeah.
Which is perfect for the area they're in. We do have some little infantry combat nurses. So your support team with gas masks, mortars, and heavy weapons. They're quite cute. The combat nurses, though, they've got like the long dresses that sort of wimples on. Look at this, this pair carrying somebody away. Run for all you're worth.
I can cure your illness.
At this one at the end, who seems to be carrying some sort of bone saw.
Yeah.
I was about to call the hacksaw on that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix you. Don't worry.
Look, this is ruined. It has to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're being healed. Be thankful I didn't bring fire.
Oh my god, it was a splinter.
I'm feeling better now.
Much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mutos with your own lovely, again, bit more of the
Very John Carter-y. I think it's kind of cool.
Well, you have a mixture of your many-limbed Mutos and then your things that are a bit more. Do you remember the Muti Raiders for Gorka Morka? They were essentially
kind
chaos
of. I remember some of the art.
Lizard horses. So right there, that's what you have tearing around the place, and sort of chaotic dogs and a pack master. So again, some of these would probably fit in quite well with some of the fantasy ranges if you want to play out your.
That's true. Yeah.
Look at
that.
that.
To mix things a little bit.
Tentacule. Get that tentacle in there.
All the hunchback mutants.
All of them. All the time. It's the best way.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Where is my... I lost it. Oh, I don't want to lose it. That would be terrible. There it is there. This is what I'm after. These. If you fancy doing a bit of something a little bit Mad Maxy,
this is the place to come.
Witness this.
Ooh.
Witness all of this.
Oh, those are so cute.
These, I think, are absolutely gorgeous.
They're amazing.
Especially,
the thing is, I think a lot of people want to do. Sorry, Jerry. I think a lot of people want to do like big, like kill rig hunting scenarios and all that kind of thing. But even if you're doing it at matchbox scale, that's still quite a lot.
Yes.
Whereas you do it at 6 mil, and you can have a lot of fun. I mean, look at that.
Rigs.
Yeah.
Donutting around the table like a donutty thing, doing the donut.
Sold.
Imagine that in our canyons table that we've got, or used to have, maybe in the
still
studio.
there.
Yeah.
We also have the trench table. Imagine it balling through the trenches.
Cool. Yeah.
But these are just absolutely.
I will bounce over you.
The big monster truck wheels, and you just have the top.
Different shells depending on what you want. Yeah, chassis. Yeah. Those are really cool and a nice way to kind of take things in a different direction. If you don't want to do the customization of anything at matchbox scale, go a little bit smaller. Gaslands
or other games.
Or other games.
Other games. It's all good in the hood. I will binkle back.
Those are really nice.
Very quickly, before we get too bogged down, say that's the majority of the big stuff. By big 6 mil, there are some 3 mil. They're not as comprehensive, but you can see,
I think they're fairly new as well.
These are fairly new.
But they're so small
for when you want to.
Tiny.
When 6 mil's too big. There's a
strip base
of. I mean, that's what you're using 3 mil for. Is for when you want to put a pike block down of macadamia nuts. And you know that you need like 216 of them. But you're not doing that in 10 mil particularly easily anyway. And even 6 mil will look extensive, but 3 mil, you can do 3 mil. You can have proper sized units.
Great for people who want to try and play something a little bit more grand campaign style as well. So if you want to do it as a map-based thing rather than it being necessarily a full-on war game, you could look at some of these in order to build up facsimiles of what your armies are like, and maybe sort of like the major units that are in each one to give you an idea of units.
Actually have units and armies moving around on a campaign map.
Yeah,
that's a good way to do it. These are a lot closer to just being 3 mil War Master. So you have things like the Imperial War Engine. So you've got War Altar and War Wagons.
Cool.
Various artillery types. If you're looking for tiny scaled Whamster, then you'll find some of them here. Obviously, racist elves as well. Shame, they're always there.
Jerry, you always have to go after them, mate.
Yep. The 3 mil fantasy is, I think, if memory serves, solely vehicles in the various teams. So really nice designs on the vehicles, but you're not going to see infantry kicking around in here because it's all about the flying combat cars and things. Look how dinky they are. You two can get a
tiny.
whole bundle of tanks and scout cars and the like.
I love the idea of going to Microworld Games at a convention and being like, right, I've bought a bunch of your stuff. I'll put it in my bag. And then you go to find it later. And you're like, where the hell is it? It's just in a pocket somewhere in another.
Literally, you can buy an army and put it in your pocket. All these people dragging carts behind them at a big convention. Yeah, they're the fools.
Walking around with big, especially with like combat trousers.
Ziploc bag.
Yeah, Ziploc bag in a pocket, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
So that's all good. The 15mm fantasy, say, it's
bit of chaos.
Yeah, it's a new range as well. This is the only stuff in it so far, and the Seas of Fate only contains a single fleet currently, but it is dwarves.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, I thought that would bring you back on something.
Ooh.
But yeah.
What scales this into compared to like games on the market? Like, is it smaller than Armada, or do we know? Or?
You could use them for some of the dwarf ships in Armada. They're about 30mm long for these ones. I think the Bombard's bigger.
Cool.
62, yeah.
Right.
So these would work for Armada, or if
nice.
you still play Plague Fleet, Sea of Blood were the expansions. What was the game called? Man of War. Play Man of War. These work very well for the dwarf fleet
perfect.
as well.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I think so. It's a really nice range of
I
stuff.
like that they've really honed in on the whole 6.3mm stuff.
Yeah.
And not been like, oh, we'll go to 28 or something like that. They've gone, no, this is what we do well. Let's hammer this. Oh, that medieval village. I saw that a couple of months ago, and it's such a good little set. Oh, so many little bits and pieces in there.
A lot in there.
Yeah. Die Schweizer $100. Yeah. Oh.
Very nice. I mean, 46 by 30.
I've been painting those in 28mm scale. They take bloody ages.
How quick they'll be.
Terrain to paint.
Bloody ages.
Even faster.
Paint those with contrast paint, done in a day. Well, done in an hour, done in 10 minutes, I say. That's what my partner says anyway. So anyway.
There you go then. Blimey Charlie. But yeah, Microworld Games. I definitely think people should check out smaller scales for bigger games.
Definitely.
Don't get stuck in the idea of doing everything in 28mm or 75 or whatever GW is up to these days. It expands so quickly I can't keep up. Look at the very small. Increase your world.
Big ideas, small models.
Fit in a pocket.
Yeah.
You
can get that through security, and everyone will be like, "Oh, it's just lint."
That's some very sharp lint you've got there, Ben. Why is it so spiky?
It's not a very soft pewter. You're not going to be able to take over a plane with that. You'll be fine.
If you find old enough ones, you'll go through and they'll go, "Are you planning to poison the entire flight with lead? Lead poisoning? Just put it in the teapot."
Dropping models into it, yeah.
Shocking. Right, we'll be back for the news in just one moment.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we're back. And the first bit of news is something we briefly touched on last week.
Yes.
When Infinity and Warcrow have been mentioned by Corvus Belli at Gen Con.
Yeah. So the folks behind Corvus Belli have done their big reveal videos effectively for their two big games, and what's coming throughout the rest of 2023 and into 2024. On the Infinity side of things, kicking things off, Carlos got very excited about who would have thought that Carlos would get excited about something. About a whole bunch of stuff coming to Infinity, starting with there's going to be a graphic novel coming down the road, which is quite cool, alongside things like the operation deck for all your ITS needs, everything like that. But the graphic novel is going to be called Aftermath, and it's going to be a new story set in the Infinity world, where I'll be looking into a little bit more of the seedy underbelly of that society, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit further on than that in the video, but we'll get to that soon anyway. I'll just keep chatting away.
Yeah, Don't worry. I'm going to jump around. Don't worry.
Yeah, we also have obviously all of the stuff that's coming out in terms of reinforcements. So you will have seen that during our theme week where we talked a little bit more about Endsong and what's going on for that. Another one.
Oh my god,
is,
it's so cute! I'm gonna die.
Yeah, Rem races. So, but actually, we'll talk about Aftermath first. So, Aftermath. Look, diving into the sort of underworld and everything of the World of Infinity is going to be new graphic novel, as you can see there. There's also going to be a limited edition miniature that's going to be coming out, which is sort of determined by one of the sort of antagonists, I guess you'd say, from the upcoming book. But you'll also see things like those really awesome characters and things that hopefully will find their way into stuff later in the future. That'd be very cool. Very Street Fighter vibes from these, I would say. Maybe on purpose, I would think. But yeah, very nice stuff there on that front. Rem Races, as you just saw there, was a little preview of that. That's going to be coming out later this year in autumn, and it's been designed as just a quick, fun family board game for people to dive into and have fun with, which is very nice to see. There was also some additional news coming out for pretty much all the factions to some degree. There's going to be new releases for a variety of different ones, so you're about to dive in and pick up new stuff for all of them. Whether or not you're playing Infinity or Code One, there's definitely going to be some options for you there. One of the big ones was the Nomad side of things. So if you're a furry fan, you get to dive back in with the Nomads and the Pupniks, which is very cool. So you get to run around with some fun little creatures. Who needs Toha when you have these? That's what Carlos would say.
Oh, that's harsh for the Toha fans. All three of them that are left will be up in arms.
Yeah. There's also going to be a new Dire Foes box as well, which they're really nice little kind of narrative scenario based stuff that they do, which will focus on two key characters going up against each other, fighting over another sort of very important person that you can use as an objective marker in your games, as well as just using it as a nice narrative tool as well. On the Warcrow side of things, and this is one side of things that I think a lot of people were very interested in, Hoopu was talking about what's coming up for that. So everybody knows that Warcrow Adventures, which is the sort of board game, is going to be coming out very soon. It's going to be the big adventure style game that you're about to dive into as a dungeon delving experience. Very, very nice. But these were the first look at the starter factions that are going to be popping up as part of the Warcrow war game that they're doing. So you saw the warbands there for the northern tribes, which are there. Corvus Belli take on orcs, which are lovely. And also the hegemony of Embersig, which is your sort of human, elven, dwarven alliance. Essentially, your good guys, for want of a better word, I guess you'd say, but that's subjective.
I don't have to paint the stripy trousers. I will go blind.
Well, painting stripes isn't as hard as you think, Justin, nowadays. So, but yeah, you could always just put them all in lovely big blue pants if you wanted. That would be nice. But anyway, that's what's coming for the starter sets for both of these later on in 2024. They're going to be doing demos and looks at the game and previews throughout all of the rest of 2023. 2024 then switches over to them looking towards presenting the game to more people. So we're going to get, as you can see there, the game presentation at Adepticon, which is where it'll first get its big shebang. I'd imagine we'll probably be talking to Corvus Belli around that point and doing some stuff with them. That could be kind of cool. And then, as you can see, going on sale at Gen Con in August, which is pretty cool. So unlike
exactly 1 year out.
Yeah, so unlike Adventures, which was kickstarted, looks like we're going to be getting this straight into shops, which is very nice. But yeah,
the old rat tile.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching both of the videos and having a look at them. Carlos goes into a little bit more detail, has some jokes and fun with all the stuff for Infinity, and Hoopu talks more about what's coming up in terms of game mechanics as well. So she goes into detail about movement and dice and all that kind of thing. So if you've not looked at Warcrow before, it's definitely worth having a watch of this. In some of her previous videos, she's also talked about a little bit more about the background, where they want to take the game over the next little while, as part of this Whispers of Lindworm series, which is very cool. So if you are somebody who maybe looked at Warcrow Adventures and thought it was very nice, and wants to know more about the war game, definitely check this out and then check out the rest of her series as well, because it's a very nice insight into their development of the game and the world and everything else. And because it's Corvus Belli, they obviously put that level of polish on absolutely everything they do. So yeah, going to be amazing.
The only thing I'm mildly iffy on is just the number and variation of the symbol dices within the game. But again,
you need to lean forward so people at home can hear what you're iffy on.
Sorry. Sorry, it was the number and type of dice. Sorry, I didn't realize it was that far back.
It
was like
it always throws me just a little bit.
Yeah, the dice are the exact same dice as the ones they're using in the dungeon crawler game.
Yeah.
So once you've seen that, it's a set style of dice for both systems, and you'll know that.
I mean, hopefully
a crit is a crit type of thing. So
hopefully as people get set into Warcrow Adventures, it'll be a really nice transition between one game into the other, which would be very cool. But there we go. So yeah, more stuff coming up from Infinity and Warcrow. Definitely go and check out what they have to say about those games.
There's a ton of stuff there. So much so that Ben couldn't even touch the sides on that. No. Definitely have a look at the videos. But you'll see. There's
only so many times I've let my fingers compress print screen.
that is very true. Speaking of screen gaming, Mantic have announced a bit more about what's coming for their version of Worms.
Yeah, so
you get powder for it.
You may have seen our interview with Ronnie from UK Games Expo where we talked about Worms. He let loose a little bit more than he should have done because we had the chat earlier and he was like, I don't know how much I can tell you. And I just went, tell us more. And he went, okay. So
I don't know how much I can tell you. I tell you everything.
Yeah. They, as Jerry said, they've been diving into some blogs talking about where they're going to be taking Worms, the board game, in the near future. It's going to be coming to Kickstarter. It should be kickstarting in the summer, so it doesn't give them too long to get this out there, but I'm sure it'll be coming out towards the end of August. They are trying to bring the Worms experience to the tabletop. So similar to playing Worms on PC or console, whatever, you're going to be getting a team of Worms. They will have access to all sorts of wild and wacky weapons, and you will be trying to take out your opponents in as many zany ways as possible in order to be the last team standing.
Wacky.
Who would have thought it? Everything that you would think would be in a Worms game is there. So mines, destroyable terrain, crates that drop from the sky, med packs, all the zany weapons, bazookas, shotguns, prods. Concrete donkey. They're going to have super weapons. They've got the baseball bats. They've got everything else you could think of. They've also said that they're going to implement the kind of sudden death mechanics that a lot of people used to have in the I think it's slightly more of the older Worms games where like floods will happen and all that kind of thing. So I would imagine tiles are going to go missing and worms are going to fall into the sea and all sorts of different things like that. So it looks very, very cool. We got a sort of early look at some of the miniatures that they're going to be working on. So these are some of the renders. They have shown a few more off on their blog over the sort of tail end of this week, I think it was. But this is a nice little look at what they do. Mantic have always done really good stuff with their licensees. I think anyone who's played The Walking Dead or Hellboy would agree. And there's a good pedigree behind this one as well. So I'm sure alongside Team 17, they're going to be producing something really fun for people to dive into and have fun with. And as I say, going to Kickstarter in the near future. So keep an eye out for that one if you are a Worms fan. I think some of the charm of this is going to be in the kind of zany family game vibe where you just sit down and have some fun and curse dad or mum for blowing you, for nuking you.
I can make friends and alienate people.
Exactly.
It's interesting because whenever they said they were doing Worms, the initial thing I was thinking of was destructible terrain. How are they going to do that? Because the whole point of Worms was knocking away and chipping away at the land beneath people. Yeah. And then when the water's exposed, you push them in. It's just nothing better than going up and just going prod.
Boink. Yeah.
Oh, you're all dead now. And the way they've done it is stacked layers of hex tiles. So things explode, and as they explode, then you remove a tile and it uncovers more ground below, blah, 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 until eventually, if you hit white, then, or tabletop in this case, then unlucky, you're dead.
So play it on a blue mat.
That would be the best way to do it.
And just get a water mat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe they'll do a game mat that'll just be blue. I love that the wind direction is still in there as well.
Yes.
So you can have those moments where you fire a bazooka and then it just flies straight back into your face.
Yeah. And I assume that's what the D12s are for as well. But
you clearly knew your maths very well, Justin.
But I want to say there's around about 50, like maybe it might be 47 odd worms that they've worked on so far. Maybe more being added, but they're not specific. So it's more a case of here's how you identify your unit, your squad, the boys from the dwarf, whatever it happens to be. But they'll just be little clip rings, with the coloured, so you've got red team, green team, whatever. So it's really just a case of pick the worm that you like. The weapon they happen to be carrying doesn't really have any impact on what you're doing in the game.
Yeah, because you can switch to everything, can't you?
Yeah. So you just find the ones that look coolest.
I really like the idea of them giving you a pad of paper with the game where you can write your team and you can put your team name and all the different characters, because that's one of the coolest things about Worms. And then you could like mark off their victories and their losses and stuff. You don't obviously just do that with a piece of paper, but obviously it'd be nice to have a nice little kind of character
Sit
sheet
there
there. Cool.
the whole time going, I'm steady as a rock.
Yeah.
Every time, whenever one of them activates,
Yeah.
just put in the little Worms quirties that they do whenever they activate.
I also would love there to be stretch goals for grave markers so that you can put little graves where the worms have
when
died.
they die. I'd be very surprised if they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very
You've got to do
comprehensive.
that.
See, I'd love a stretch goal just for a random lemming miniature.
An added lemming.
Poor lemmings. I'd be fascinating to see where they go with it anyway in the long run.
Yes.
And on the subject of licenses, apparently when they were over at Gen Con, they were having a little chat with Skybound about possibly revisiting The Walking Dead, getting a new license, and they didn't do the Commonwealth when they had it the first time round. So potentially
that, and we
should
have
be coming back.
the new Daryl Dixon series coming out soon, where it's him in France.
Yeah, I don't care about that because that's got nothing to do with Skybound and
Oh yeah, because that's the TV series, not the comics.
So they don't have any access to any of that. But
fair enough.
But it isn't. That does mean that Walking Dead's back. Well, still in the zeitgeist, I guess.
Yeah,
very true.
So time will tell. It'd be nice if they.
I miss All Out War.
It was a great game.
It's
fantastic.
Classic. I'm glad I have the comprehensive set of everything. But for people who aren't me, it's a really good system, and I'd be surprised if they don't get the Walking Dead license and come back to it. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't reappear at some point as a different game with that mechanic, because the game itself was just really slick.
Although if they do get it and go back to Kickstarter, I mean, we all saw how crazy it went the first time on Kickstarter with the amount of stuff you got.
Yeah. Good times in a can. All right. Up next, look, it's some post-apocalyptic-y type of driving game.
It's almost like this was all married together somehow. So this is actually a game by someone that actually helps out with Salute quite a lot. This will mean nothing to anybody, but Mac helps us loads with stuff for Salute all the time. And so this is a game that's been done by him alongside Fyndoria Games. And this is a game called The Last Drifters, which is a post-apocalyptic car game. Objects in the rear view may kill you. I love it. So this is a new game from a relatively new company. They do have another game that they're working on that's going to be coming to Kickstarter in the near future, which is very cool. But this is for you to get your Matchbox cars or maybe your Microworld cars.
Yeah, it looks like Herbie took some acid.
Yep. Or something worse, probably.
Herbie went bananas.
Yeah.
This is what happens whenever you put biodiesel in your car, folks.
So this is a game where you can customize and build your rigs and your cars however you like. In terms of complexity compared to other games out there, they said it's not as detailed as something like Car Wars. It sits more around the Gaslands level, but a lot simpler than that. So it's been designed for sort of party pick up and play style games. Obviously, that means it's great for things like conventions and stuff. So it's probably where that's come from, I would guess. There's also 3 modes of play for you to dive into and have fun within the game as well. There's a 1v1, which is your standard game where you just play against each other. There's multiplayer brawls, so you can have loads of teams, or you could just have loads of people playing as individual groups, battling each other on the tabletop. And then there's also, and this one's my favorite, Destruction Derby, where you literally just drive around smashing up as many cars as possible to see if you're the last one standing, which I think is possibly the way that everybody should play this game every single time. So very cool.
Yeah, I think this would be great as like a con game, because you can literally have a stand with a crap load of Matchbox cars, a crap load of bits, and find you what you take part. You have to do up your own car and then put it on the table.
That could be cool. I love the idea of it.
Take it away with you.
If you did it as the Destruction Derby, you could have it as Derby. You could have it as the arena, not the town of Derby. You could have you could have the arena, and you could have ramps on the side of it. And when you come in as like a new person, your car drives down the ramp and then drives into the arena. That could be cool and all that kind of thing. But well,
you could actually have it. You have different types of entrance, and you have to randomly generate. So you could be coming in off a ramp to maybe drop down and body slam someone.
Yeah, or like drop from the back of like
a.
Yeah, or like dropped off out of a helicopter or something like that.
Yeah, you'll find that'll do a lot of damage to your car.
Into a thing of acid.
You may not survive.
Yeah.
There's some interesting concepts in the game. So your cars have drivers and passengers, you use kind of a dice from the bag mechanic. So when you're activating, you draw a dice. If it's your color, you get to choose, is it the driver? In which case the driver can do little drivey things like side slips, but like a turn, sharp turns, whatever that you've seen there.
Nice.
Or you can choose to activate a passenger to fire some of the weapons that you've strapped on the side of it. And once every car, passenger and driver has activated, then that's the end of a turn and back in you go. So even though a car may be languishing behind, it may be better for it to unload with all of it than drive in front and get shot in the back itself. And then you also you can map things like oil leaks and little flames kicking off and stuff like that.
That's
so
cool.
There's some nice concepts behind it. I like the idea because you've got your sort of stock cars where you can just go, I'm just going to play with this, or you can go, well, here's the car.
Customize it and stuff.
I'm going to take and then up armor it, just these guns off it.
I like that.
Or give the passenger a shotgun or whatever it happens to be. You've got options in there to mess around with it to a greater or lesser extent, depending on how much you want to do to it.
I'm fairly sure that any game that doesn't allow you to have a shotgun isn't worth having, to be honest.
Yeah. And there are motorbikes as well.
Yeah.
If you're using a diecast car, though, you could strap some magnets onto it and have it that as you're driving around, you can drive over power-ups to get weapons and armor.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be magnetize them on as you're playing.
There's a lot of stuff. It's interesting to see where Mac's gone with it. It was one of these, you've seen the little template there for the turning. That template is a one template. The game only uses one template.
Yeah, it does everything,
as simple as possible. The cars themselves have a bit more complexity to them, and then sort of tracking. So you do your little car sheet off and then laminate it, and then you can just fill in all the blanks with overhead projector pen, and away you go. But yeah, it's nice to see. Keen to see what the book is like when I finally get it, wherever it's being printed and sent from.
Yeah, because you can get it digitally, as Jerry was showing off there. Or you can get it softback or hardback.
I will say, because they all come from the same place, which is that drive-through people.
Yes.
If you buy the physical book, you get the PDF for free.
Which
is the reason I own a digital version of the PDF. It's not through choice.
Yeah, Jerry didn't do that by choice. Yeah,
it was. I want the book. It's going to take like 18 days to arrive. Maybe, who knows? It might come sooner, but I'll get the PDF at the same time. However, it's for some unknown reason it's an option, so you can buy the physical book without the PDF. Seems like a waste.
Some people don't have hard drive space, I guess.
Could be that. Could be that.
Yeah. Some people's computers have exploded.
Well, that's
some
true.
people just hit iPads. Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Not now, not ever.
Yeah.
Not giving anything money. They are the worst people in the world. Oh my God.
But yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, happier things though.
Yes. Moving to the world of pulp and awesomeness. Oh, you know how crooked dice
I do
tend to go back into people's childhoods and mine them for nostalgia and make you go, well, I need that now. They have a feature pack that is available right now to pre-order called Manta Ray 5. And you have to say this, Manta, na, 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 na. Because this is a new book that's coming out that is very, very similar to something that was done by Jerry Anderson back in the day. Stingray. It's like Stingray. How cool is that?
Oh my God. Stingray. Yes. Look at them. He's a WASP. He's a World Security Patrol officer right there. Look at him. Look at him.
God. So they're going to be doing a program guide that will come with a sort of 3 campaign scenario for you to dive into, all tied into the rules from the new 7TV book. On top of that, you get to access a whole range of miniatures for both the MANTA Manta forces alongside the Nautican Empire, which you have to say like that, or you go blah 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 blah. That's probably how they speak. Yeah. So you go.
How dare you? My mother was a saint.
So you got 2 sets of miniatures there that are going to be great for playing out your different campaign games, and obviously you could use them further afield as well. Obviously, the Manta forces look really cool. very in keeping with the sort of classic look from the show that this is based on. Sort of takes inspiration from. You've even got the grizzled commander leading the way for there as well, which I thought was really cool. So a nice little set there. On the Nautican Empire side of things, obviously they're blue here, which makes sense for the sea, but you could paint them green. You could paint them green and have fun.
The guy on the far right just looks confused about why he's there.
Why am I here? I can't fight them. You've given me a stick.
Going on an outing, but I don't know why I'm here and why I'm holding this spiky thing. Why?
That's exactly how he sounds, definitely. Yeah.
That's an aquamphibian for you.
You've got the sort of leader there at the front with his sort of conch shell and his pajamas on. And then you've got the rest of the crew there as well, wearing their classic looking outfits, which are very nice. And as someone said in the comments of the news post, hey, it looks like they're all wearing rubber gloves on their heads, which I thought was quite funny. So
clearly, to determine rank, you're high enough rank, you're allowed to wear trousers.
That's probably what it means. Yeah, actually, I think.
Pretty much.
Tridents if you're low ranks. Then you get a harpoon gun if you're slightly higher, and then you get to wear trousers. Finally get to wear trousers if you get to that higher rank. So yeah, very cool.
I wonder if they'll do any vehicles. Because vehicles would be nice.
Yes. Also, Maria
Aquamarina.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So, yeah.
I imagine there will be. It's
gotta
interesting to see.
It's gotta be. But pre-orders are available now. Go and check it out. It's amazing. The people at Crooked Dice are great. And if you don't like that, you could always go and pick up some of their not Captain Scarlet stuff, which is equally as amazing.
Bum, 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 bum.
Which is the best of those puppet-based shows.
Very
much I say so myself.
Yeah, well, you're correct.
Yeah.
Twice.
You got Captain Scarlet
every week.
Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds, Stingray.
Oh,
no. And then off the screen is like Joe 90 or something like that.
What? How dare you?
You're disappointed in Ben now?
Scarlet,
Thunderbirds.
Let me know your rankings in the comments.
Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. It's a trap.
Thunderbirds
clearly a trap.
Wouldn't even feature. What? Space Precinct would be up there before Thunderbirds.
That is pretty good.
To be fair, the Thunderbirds were better acting, less wooden. The people in Space Precinct,
a little more plastic then.
Oh, anyway. Right.
Yes.
Enough of that. We have one more piece of news.
Yes, we've got a couple more, but they're all tied together into one Mortal Realms-y Games Workshop-y salad. A salad of convenience. The first of these is
disappointment, probably.
The first of these, is a look at the last previews for the Cities of Sigmar before they get their launch box coming out in the near future. So we got a look at a whole range of new miniatures to sort of cap off the range, fill it with new characters and all that kind of stuff. So one of the models in particular was this Free Guild Cavalier Marshal that you see there.
I like it.
Very cool. I like the idea. Too cluttered, perhaps, but otherwise quite nice.
He looks okay to me for clutter.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things to paint. That's, I think, the thing.
That's the complaint. Yeah. Okay, now I get you.
Yeah, but really nice looking pose for the horse. I like that it's just a normal horse. That's also great.
It's madness.
In fact, it's weird that the Mortal Realms has normal horses. There we go. They do.
No, the eyes are red. That's clearly some form of demon horse.
Yeah. It's not called something like an equinus or something, and it's got like 4 limbs on the other side or something like that.
It's entirely possible it's just stoned.
Whoa!
Well, if you have to live in the mortal realms, I think being high may help.
That's true.
Man.
I mean, if it was stone cold sober and it saw a demon, it's going to look at it and go, yeah, I'm not going near that, man. I am not going near that. I don't know what you're on about. Okay, you smoke. Yeah. Okay, I'm smoking this. It looks friendly now. Let's go.
So you got the Cavalier Marshal there that leads the cavalry options for the City of Sigmar. You've then got another big character. So this is Pontifex Zenestra, who is one of the sort of faith leaders for the Cities of Sigmar. What's really cool about this model, and you can't see it from this one in particular, but it was in some of the other previews and things, is that you've got Pontifex Zenestra there at the front, sort of gesticulating towards what's in front of her and getting people ready to charge into battle and all that kind of thing. But on the reverse of this, there is a weird version of her that's on fire.
Sure.
Which is very
because she's grimdark.
a healer.
That's how healing works.
Yeah.
No wonder the guy at the back looks a bit miffed. I was going to say, like, what?
Because he has to look at the burning version of it.
Yeah, Jesus.
You would think he would swap with the guy with the hood.
Well, the other thing is he's catching all the smoke out of those sensors.
That's true.
He's got to be tired of smelling that safe right now.
It's like being in Body Shop. It's too many scents overwhelming me.
I like how the front of the chair has got
palanquin,
heads.
And then the back is on
the back has got the bums.
I will say, if you are someone who likes the grotesques and the gargoyles and all that kind of stuff, they have worked that so much into this new Cities of Sigmar line. It's very Mordheim in that respect. Where I think we looked at the last set of these that were done, which are the kind of Pathfinder scouts, and we saw the little dude that was like a little tiny head in a sock and stuff. They've done loads more of those that are dotted onto bases and all sorts of different things. So they're really sort of latching onto that aesthetic and pulling it forward into the Mortal Realms, which I think is a really cool idea. Sure. But yeah, so she's the matriarch of the Great Wheel. It's forever turning.
Happens to have a small pet demon.
Who happens to have a small pet demon.
At some point, somebody should really explain that if they get another 3 of these and put them here,
she can roll forward.
Here, it will make life much easier.
I am the leader of the cult of the wheel, but we do not use them because they are holy.
The wheel is heresy. Yeah. We also got the Command Core box as well. So this is, if you think sort of Astra Militarum, and you have the idea of like lots of people as part of like a staff that would fight underneath a commander or something. These are the kind of characters that would be fighting in a kind of fantasy version of that. So you've got the if we start at the top and go round, so we have that chap there who is the Arc Knight. Much like with a bunch of other miniatures in this range, and including the ones that you see here, they have lots of that is you, maybe. They have different head and weapon options and all that kind of thing. So you don't have to have this guy with the big bear helm and the axe. You could switch it around and have him with a sword and a full helm and all that kind of thing. So he's your Arc Knight. So he's your guy who's going to be fighting on the front ranks with all the rest of your foot soldiers. You've then got the Whisper Blade, who is very, very thin and is giving me serious confrontation-y vibes.
I was going to say, I own that figure from Rackham already.
I see. This group is almost, the meme of the party swearing themselves to avenge, a party member's fallen brother. True, you've got the berserker going, "You shall have my axe and my blade," and then the necromancer steps up and goes, "And your brother." So yeah. Yeah, very true. So you got the Arc Knight there, which is your foot sort of getting stuck in, hitting people with axes. You got the Whisper Blade, who's going to be your assassin character, sneaking around the back, stabbing people, and all that kind of stuff. You've then got, and these are the cool ones. So this is the Soul Shepherd. Yep, and there's your brother.
And the Corpus Somni. So the Soul Shepherd, apparently, the worship of Moor and all that kind of things is a little bit squiffy in the Mortal Realms. It's not quite as you might have imagined in the old world. So they are there to make sure that those faithful warriors that step out into these grand campaigns to, forge new cities in the Mortal Realms, if their souls get taken by all the beasts that live out there, don't worry. We'll look after them and we'll make sure they're safe. And there'll be all sorts of tinctures and sensors and everything that'll make sure that your soul is taken to the right place and not given over to Nagash or something more nefarious. And yes, there is also a weird piping zombie man, which is just
Bobby
so
Charlton
odd.
Needs to just lose that comb over. It's gone, mate. Just cut it off.
Again, this is the thing. Whenever you're losing your hair, folks, just finish it off.
Yeah.
Shave your head, grow a beard, you'll look better.
And again, very Mordheim vibes. Even getting that from the War Surgeon. He even has a weapon with the word Sigmar inscribed on it, which is just so in keeping with that kind of old classic style. Very similar to most medics in war games. Your leg's a little bit hurt. I'll just cut it off. I'm sure we can use it later. Or feed it to the Gargoyles, which are the creature that you see above you. So you've got also got the Great Herald with the battle standard at the ready, alongside the Gargoylian there that you can see, which again sort of references the different types of creatures that come along on these great campaigns. No one's quite sure where they've come from. Are they heresy? Who knows? Probably. Yeah, it is. Yes.
I mean, if they're eating the leftovers on the battlefield, keeping it clean, I'm not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, everything you see here is going to be coming out in the near future. We're obviously going to get the launch set first, which will be released fairly soon by Games Workshop, by all accounts. They have pushed back Legions Imperialis to later in the year, which I assume is going to make way for things like this free guild release and also the inevitable Space Marine releases that we're going to be getting soon as well, that would have been shown off with the Tyranids a couple of weeks ago and that kind of thing. But obviously the Tyranids won, blah, 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 blah. And you've also got this big cannon, because of course you need a big, great cannon in your Empire army. Although, of course, they've done what they've done with all the rest of these sort of range weapons from this particular set of models and their aesthetic, and built those big gun shields and stuff on the front of them to sort of pervases, if you will, to kind of keep the weapons and the crews safe. I would also say probably not advisable to drink and fire cannons, but maybe that guy needs to, with all the strange things coming towards them in
Thirsty Park.
In the mortal
so
realms.
Ben's message of the day: don't drink in cannon.
Don't drink in cannon. Yes. Or if you are, make sure that nobody sees you. So yeah. Some cool stuff
why
there.
They've got the shields there to hide behind.
Yes, to hide behind as they have a drink.
Clever.
So yeah, Battletome Cities of Sigmar coming out soon. The first place to get that will be within the launch box, which, as I say, is coming in the near future. Although, of course, with all of these things, if you don't have the funds to get it now or whatever, or you want to dive into this range, but you don't particularly want to spend loads on a launch box, just wait. It'll all come out in the near future anyway. All of it does. So you're not in a hurry to get these if you don't want them. But if you do want to play them at the moment, then of course it's a good option to go and get them. But there we go. So yeah, very cool. So yeah, we'll be finding out more about them in the near future, I would guess. Very
Sweet
nice.
to the beat.
Yes. And then we cap things off. So if anybody who has been watching Warhammer TV, probably just me here.
Just you.
Probably, yes.
I still don't see it as being worth it.
It's not worth it, but there we go. I have it for research purposes. I should probably put it as a business expense, but there we go. So the Blacktalon series follows Neave Blacktalon and her Blacktalons, who are a series of knightly hunters from within the Stormcast Eternals that get sent out by the God King Sigmar to rid the mortal realms of particular nefarious creatures and characters, and basically make sure that everything's working behind the scenes. There even are some watery racist elves. So yes, this is all of the characters from the animated show now realized as plastic models. A lot of people might remember that Neave Blacktalon already had a miniature that came out a couple of years ago now, as part of a kind of themed box where she was fighting against the forces of Nurgle. She's also had books before in the past as well, which are really, really well worth reading. The Neave Blacktalon book, First Mark, is a very, very good look at psychology of Stormcast Eternals and what it's like to be a warrior that can't die and has to perpetually keep fighting for something they potentially don't believe in, which I think is very, very cool. And it's definitely worth looking at, especially if you I've maybe looked at Stormcast Eternals in the past and gone, they're just all faceless drones that fight for the God King. This sort of takes it in a different direction, which I think is very nice. Obviously, going back to the models, Neave gets a brand new model, as you can see there, holding her axis forth, ready to get everybody else to charge into the action and kick ass and take names. But then you also have a couple of additional models as well. So you've got Hendrik the Silver Wolf, who is her sort of mentor and sort of tactician and strategist that helps her with her various missions. You've also got Shakana Goldenblade, who is the sniper and scout of the group. Again, very much going into that kind of D&D role of who's what in the party, I suppose. But she is going to be scouting ahead and using her weaponry to sort of watch over you. And then last but not least, you have Rostus Oxenhammer, who is your berserker and your sort of big badass paladin that steps into the breach and beats up everybody and breaches doors and smashes things to pieces and all sorts of things as like. So you've got all the different characters that you would have expected from the Blacktalon series. And then capping things off, there is also Lorai, Child of the Abyss, who is a Ideneth Deepkin that is part of Blacktalon's unit. She is the one that sort of teleports them into different realms and makes sure that they get where they need to. But also she is a deadly combatant in her own right, using her water magic to kill everything that comes near her, using the Aether Sea to drown you while you walk on the land. Nah. But yes, a nice collection. I don't think I need to add the yeah. There we go. But there we go. So this is a nice collection of miniatures. There's no word on exactly what game they're going to fit into. I would assume they're going to get rules for playing them in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. probably just as a unit, I would guess. But I would love to see these in something like Warcry or Warhammer Underworlds. That could be fun to see them going into that as well. There's lots of potential for them there. But quite a surprise. Nobody thought these were going to be coming. Here they are, looking very nice. Very cool.
Just like Mattel intended. Right. Enough of the news. We should take a little break. And when we return, we'll be wrapping up the show. Okay, we are back. End of the show. It can mean only two things. Kickstarter campaigns and 3D printing. And I believe we're starting with 3D printing in a shock to no one at all.
You will have seen the sting.
What have you discovered for us?
So this is Miniaturas Ezipion.
Impressive.
Ezipion, I'm going to say. That's probably how it's said.
Sure.
So this is a creator over on my mini factory, but they've also done loads of other stuff in the past as well. They have done different projects and Kickstarter and all that kind of thing as well. And in similar vein to what we've had a look at previously throughout the show, to kind of nail that kind of grim, dark vibe, they have a very nice collection of different miniatures that you could be used to represent characters in all sorts of games like the Mortal Realms and Warhammer, or you could go even further. A lot of these could be really fun to start looking at for conversions for things like the Doomed or Forbidden Psalms and everything else in between, which I think is quite nice. The chap who's behind this, who's brought all this to life, has worked for loads of different companies over the years, including the likes of Games Workshop. So that's sort of informed a lot of the design choices and things. I think you can see. What I really like about it, though, as well, is that there's definitively this kind of fantasy vibe to everything, but a lot of it has also got this kind of fantasy but with a heavy dose of historics built on top of it at the same time, like that dude there who was just like, oh yeah, come get me, man, I got my two swords and I'm ready to play,
right?
Fight me.
We are here to save your village. From what, sir? From us. Pay up.
Which I think is just really cool.
He is in the actor's pose. That's what he's doing there.
Yeah, I love the look of the tower.
Yeah, they've got a really nice little bit to train as well and everything of these. But yeah, there's a really good selection of stuff in here that could be very, very nice for people who want to do fantasy stuff, of course, sort of take things in that kind of fantasy medieval direction. Maybe you're playing something like Rangers of Shadow Deep. I think a lot of these kind of foot troops and stuff would be really nice to have on side as kind of followers for your particular Rangers. Maybe you'd even find a few of these that would work really well as Knights of Alador. Like that chap at the front would be a very cool sort of Ranger style to go with, especially with the kind of wilderness vibe that you get from the Shadow Deep as well. Would be very nice, but very, very cool indeed. And I like that the end of the sword has been snapped off so that it will sit lovely with the base.
Yeah, like it's plunged into the ground.
Yes, yeah. I will stand here and you will fight me. I will go. You will go no further.
I will say, with the style, they all just look like horrible bastards.
They do look like horrible bastards. Yes.
Could put them on a Segway. Use that as the little control for.
Well, that's the next Doomed conversion sorted. There we go. Yeah. A sword-driven Segway. But yeah, loads of really cool characters. There's loads of undead and everything in between. I really like the idea if you're going to do something kind of Knights Templar-esque, you could use a lot of these and then have these as maybe the first of the Crusaders that headed off into the Holy Lands, and they found something dark and deadly beneath the surface of the sands, and it's turned them into undead fiends.
Beneath the Temple of Solomon.
In the Temple
I believe there was a whole book written about that.
Yes.
And then
possibly.
And then stolen and turned into a Tom Hanks film.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, that's not how you use a crossbow.
I was going to say, it looks like he shot himself.
Yeah.
But he is cross and he does have a bow.
This is true.
But that, and he's maybe just reloading. Return to sender.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. As a charging
that's awesome
knight. That's so cool.
Oh, Lloyd's going to love this. No bat wings.
No bat wings. Yeah. Lots of filigree, but no bat wings.
Yeah, I like the fleur-de-lis as a cross.
Yes. It's a very nice little touch.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really cool. The other thing that's really cool about these is that a lot of people, well, a lot of people in the past have played around with the Bretonians and done this idea of like the Bretonians, but what if the vampires were there? And there is an order of knights in the old Bretonian law that was a vampire lord or something. I think it was one of the dukes.
Yeah.
So you could play around with that idea and sort of bring that into your games. I think that could be really fun. Obviously, then you got the kind of twisted fleur-de-lis and design and all that kind of thing. Yeah. I wasn't exactly sure who is it. Is that someone you know, Jerry?
It looks like Rookahar from Ladyhawk.
Oh, there we. Of course it is. Of course it is. I now realise from the.
Which means is there Ladyhawk and Matthew? I can't remember what Matthew Broderick's character was called.
No.
Anyway.
They do a hanged man.
They do.
What's the wrong way up there?
Or poor guy.
His name's Poor Guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're cute.
Yes. I think I love the bell on the back of the mule.
Yeah, well, it sucks to be that mule, huh?
Yeah. Don't worry,
you can replace it with.
I haven't stole it from the Holy Land.
You can replace it with a giant skull instead, which is no better.
Yeah. I like the idea of having the skull on the ground, though, and then everybody questioning why it has to be chained down.
Chained down every night.
Does
I
it
like
fly?
the little cooking pot.
Yes, just a nice little thing that sort of gets added into games. So even if you're going to be using these for something role-play based and you want to use miniatures and game mats and things like that, you've got some fun little bits and pieces.
Made a game, because it looks like he's made a game.
Looks like it, yeah.
Vespers of Sorrow, Castilla Oscura starter set.
The English versus Spanish. So yeah, definitely go and have a look at that. So you think?
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you've got like a nice little run around there. That's, all right. I like the fact that he's actually done a game with it.
Yeah.
But is that a physical product?
No, so well, it's on my mini factory. Who knows?
Yeah. So, but yeah, lots of really nice little bits and pieces in here. As Justin was pointing out, there's also some pyramid head. Got distracted. But in addition to all that, there's also some really nice terrain pieces, as you would have seen. Looking back through the collection, there's like the tower and the trees and all those additional add-ons like the hanged man and things as well. So even if you wanted to enhance what you see here and add some terrain onto it to make it a little bit 2.5D, you could do, which is quite nice. So
yeah, the posters in the starter set, so I don't think it's print and play. There must be a physical version of this.
It is $49.95. So
who knows?
Yeah. But
maybe
files,
maybe this is the print and play
files,
version.
Yeah, it's saying add files to cart. So you're buying the files.
Time will tell. You never know your luck.
Get down to the comments if you know. Maybe if you've even played the game, that could be cool. But yeah, I mean, look at that. That's so good.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Whack some technical paints over that. Make it all grubby. Bob's your uncle.
Put it on a nice swampy mat.
Yeah. Fanny's your aunt. Away you go. Lovely stuff.
Serengeti swamp donkeys.
Yeah.
What else has he got in here? Got prisoners.
Full units.
There he is again.
Well.
Look. And he's got Ladyhawk on his arm.
It is him. It is him.
Amazing. Oh, sweet. Sweet
Look at that charger. Oh, amazing.
I will have to hunt out a copy of Ladyhawk. It's been years.
I only watched it for the first time last year.
Really?
So, yeah.
Then you are a child, aren't you? I mean, you're slightly older than Shay, but...
I haven't watched this Ladyhawk thing.
Course
I don't know what that is.
It contains Matthew Broderick, who used to be a person.
I don't know who that is either.
The guy in the stocks is kind of cool.
And then he no longer gets to be an actor. He did Godzilla, and for his crime, he was made to Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. That's a take on the classic Witch Hunter from
as a
Warhammer.
fat halfling.
As a fat halfling.
Or a faffling. That's good.
But yeah, looks amazing, as always, from this collection. And it's nice to see some of the finished stuff as well. Oh, like Undead Roman Legionnaires.
Undead Roman Legion is very nice. There's a lot going on in here, isn't there? Look, there's that thing from that game.
Oh, the knight from Medieval. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See?
Oh, look, it's alive again. Maybe it won't screw up this time.
What's his name? Sir Keevil? Something like that. I don't know.
Circumference.
Oh, the Dungeon Master.
Yeah. Circumference.
Sharp.
Yeah. Classic Dungeon Master from the cartoon.
You could go home, but I won't let you. Most
I'm going to trap you here forever, children.
I promise I haven't kidnapped you and brought you to this world to fight a dragon. I promise you haven't.
He should be done for reckless endangerment of children. That's what he should be done for. No wonder his son Venger ran away from him. Guy was a lunatic.
That blasted thing.
He doesn't know the meaning of the words health and or safety.
Spoilers for Venture. But yeah, that's some really nice stuff.
A really nice little collection there. Very good, as I say, very good for those people who want to play.
Coming out of the wall, down a little there.
It's Keykeeper emerging from the wall.
Very cool.
He looks like that. He's got a key. Doesn't necessarily have to be wall. You can put it on the floor. Could be coming up out of the basement.
Welcome to prison. Drags you down.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
You never know your luck.
But yeah.
You're lucky.
It's very nice stuff there. Very good for sort of grim, dark fantasy. Also could be slightly historical if you wanted it to as well, which I think is quite nice. But a good little range there to go and have a look at. Available as 3D prints. And then go and have a look at that game as well.
Yeah. Tell us whether or not that game is a thing, what exists, what can be found in the real world with like stuff and bits.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
And no need for a 3D printer, hopefully, Jerry.
Yep. See, better again.
That's crossed.
Better again. Right. We're going to have a look at a couple of Kickstarters, and the first one I think is more 3D printing, actually.
It is more 3D printing. Yes, you will definitely do 3D arc, right?
Granville.
Yeah. You will need a 3D printer for this one. This one is from the folks at Flytrap. This one's from Flytrap Factory, which is a excellent little company that does loads of really good stuff, and has worked on lots of very nice little kind of bijou projects in the past. This one's from Anton, looks at Drop Troopers, the Drop Automated Ranger Terminal Battlesuits, and their pilots. Have you ever played Titanfall?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Do you like Titanfall and think it's awesome? Well, here are some really wicked mechs that you could use that are very much in suiting
area transport.
Look at that.
Oh, Ben, I hate you.
My God. They're so good. So this campaign is sort of building on their Drop Troopers campaign that they worked on previously. This provides you with the option to get 5 of these, 5 unique 32mm sci-fi mechs and their pilots. And I just love the fact that they've got the mechs and the pilots sort of separately, if you know what I mean. So you can have them running together, and then in proper Titanfall style, you could have one of them pick it up, putting them inside or something. That'd be really cool. Oh, so good.
I keep meaning to get the second Titanfall.
It's really good. Very good. You should definitely get it.
But my reflexes aren't what they used to be.
Just play the campaign. The campaign's the main thing. That's great. So it's really, and also there's a PvE mode, which is really good fun. Also, think how big that knife is. That is a knife for cutting a human in half or stabbing a mech.
You've played knifey before.
Yes. But as I say, there are 5 different mechs for you to choose from alongside their pilots. They all come with different weapon loadouts. So you can actually have them, if you're going to do something a little bit cooperative on the tabletop, as being, you could choose your speciality. Do you want to be the guy with the dual guns? Do you want to have the heavy weapon? Do you want to have the knife? All that kind of thing. Play around with some fun rules for that. Try and find a game that works for it. All of these are provided as supported and unsupported files, so you can do with them what you like. You do not get the bases, but you can find bases from anywhere nowadays to suit what kind of game you want to play. If you want to set out
3D print them,
or just 3D print your bases. Yes,
3D printing anyway. Just throw it on with it.
Exactly. Yeah. But in addition to the 5 battle suits that you see there, which I think are reason enough to come and have a look at this campaign, they've also got a load of their previously released Drop Troopers available as items for you to pick up and add into the mix as well. I just think they look so good and so well detailed. They're giving off kind of sort of
Spaceballs.
Well, a little bit of Spaceballs. I was going to say anime vibes to them with those kind of like big helmets and stuff to it. I think that's really cool. The Drop Troopers you can get include riflemen, but they've also got specialist weapon teams, commander units. So you're going to have your machine guns, your mortars, your sniper teams, all that kind of good stuff. So if you're going to be using for something like 40k, for example, you could easily slot them into that. Maybe make these your kind of Elysian drop troops. If you want to play around with that kind of idea, that could be very cool. Do some converting for that. You've obviously got the little wings on the front of theirs, which kind of works a little bit for that kind of aesthetic, but obviously it could fit into all sorts of different things. Imagine these in something like Warpath. Firefight, I guess. Use these something like Firefight and make them into your sort of human army. I think that'd be really, really cool.
Filthy Enforcers.
Filthy Enforcers.
I want some head swaps for these. The helmets are just not jiving with me.
Yeah. The beauty of 3D printing is maybe you could do a little bit of work and you could do some editing if you wanted to, I suppose. And then you've also got your kinetics as well. So again, a little bit like Titanfall, you could have some sort of robots fighting alongside you, have them as kind of like your sort of sidekicks to your big mechs. Maybe the big mechs have a little tiny mech that's kind of like their support robot, and then you have the pilots as well. I think that could be very, very nice. You could play around with those mechanics if you want to try and put some kind of games together. But yeah, if you are interested in anything kind of Titanfall-esque, definitely do not miss out on this, because I think it looks amazing. And at the time you're looking at this, there's probably only around 3 days left on the project. So you want to be quick off the mark. So
it is funded, though.
It is funded.
So that's all good. And if you love Spaceballs, I imagine that's additional armor. Because, let's face it, being shot in the face is always going to be an issue any day and age. So if you're going to reinforce anywhere, I'd really like more helmet up front, please. So my brain pan holds my brain in. That's always good.
Yeah.
But the big
thing, they might be mutated so that they need the bigger helmet.
Maybe.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
The mechs look fantastic.
The mechs are just so good. Yeah.
I know Crispin's been waiting for this for a while. He'll be so happy to see it.
Imagine how many different kind of cool color schemes you could come up with those, because you could paint them as like military style in the green and the brown and that kind of thing, or you could go hog wild with it, throwing loads of different wild colors and all that kind of thing. So.
On that subject, based on how center mass of all of them is a drum, you'd be going, I'll have my Sprite, my Pepsi, my Coke. Monster Energy, except they'll try and sue you.
Yeah,
the Corporation Wars.
The Corporation Wars. There we go.
Has to start somewhere. And of course, Heinz Big Beans.
A beans one would be very good. I like that.
What? No SpaghettiOs?
Nope. Nobody likes SpaghettiOs.
Beans all the way.
Beans.
But yeah, very cool. Make sure to go and check it out. Nice one.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We have one more realistic, one that I can actually get my hands on.
Yeah.
Which would be, sweet to the beat.
Yeah. So this is Medbury Miniatures, who we've talked about quite a lot over the last year or so as they've been developing and expanding their ranges. We've talked about them in the context of Middle-earth, but we've also looked at them for historical wargaming and everything like that. They do a Patreon and a tribes where every month you get access to both fantasy and historical miniatures. Some of the miniatures that they tested out a couple of months ago were their Vendel era warriors. So this is looking back to kind of like the 500, 700 AD period.
Yeah, pre-Viking.
Pre-Viking, these are your proto-Vikings almost, you can say. So this is your Geats and your Swedes, and also the Tales and Times of Beowulf as well. And that is the focus of their new Kickstarter. So yes, this is a range of models that will cover both the fantasy and historical, based on artwork that comes from a lot of great artists. So some of their models are actually based on art by J.R. Skelton, but then the rest of their range is actually just drawn from archaeological evidence. One of the interesting things about this particular period, as I was sort of reading up on it, is that it's not necessarily something that historians really look at nowadays, because there's not a lot to go on in terms of written records, apart from like Beowulf and a couple of other poems and sagas. Everything else is very much driven by archaeological evidence. So things like Sutton Hoo and the helmets that they had there, and a lot of stuff that was found in Uppsala and stuff like that over in Scandinavia. And so they've taken that as a sort of guideline in the way that they create the miniatures for this. They've all been done by Andrew, as you can see there, looking very nice. And for the first time, in metal.
Metal, like God intended.
Yes.
None of your ones and zeros here.
I have had my hands on some of these miniatures, and they are lovely. They are absolutely stunning. Most of them are one piece. Occasionally you'll get a couple of them where you have to stick swords or shields on and everything like that. But they are a really nice little collection of models. There's a couple of different options for you to dive into. The first of these is the narrative core set. So this gives you characters that are akin to the Beowulf poem. So you have characters like Beowulf, of course. You have King Hygelac there. You have Hrothgar, whose hall is the one that is haunted by Grendel and Grendel's mother in future escapades. And Unferth there, who is the advisor to... spoilers, Grendel dies. He gets his arm ripped off, all right? And not by Ray Winston. You also have Wiglaf there as well, who is Beowulf's erstwhile ally and one of his warriors that comes with him to the Hall of Hrothgar. But if you want to go beyond that and you want to start putting together a really fun little skirmishing force, perhaps for a game like Saga, maybe, you can get King Hygelac there as well and Beowulf once again, but also you can get loads of other command options. So you can have things like the Hornblower and the Bannerman. You can have your Huskarls with your Dane axes. That set, the Huskarls at Rest, is so good. Oh,
that's Varangian Guard right there.
Yeah, very much so. Then you've got loads of armored warriors, so you have them armed with swords and axes. You can also get armored spearmen. As far as I'm aware, you don't get the spears. I think the spears you have to get them yourselves and source them to slot in. But looking fine. Very nice. It's you can buy brass rod from anywhere basically nowadays, and all sorts of different things as well. And then stretch goal wise. What? Sorry, that was it.
You can buy the pre-made ones.
Well, you can just buy pre-made.
Which are very spiky and snappy.
They are very spiky and snappy. As we go towards looking at stretch goals, they're also working towards armored horsemen. There's a couple of different packs for them. There's also doing skirmishers, so you've got bowmen and you've got javelin throwers as well. So if you want to go down that route, you can. One of the nice things about looking at this kind of stuff is that maybe you're going to be looking to use them for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Here's your Rohan force, all sorted and ready to go.
Riders and walkers of Rohan.
You've got some characters at the above there that would be really good for the likes of Eomer and Theoden and Eodred and all that kind of stuff. So you've got some really nice stuff there to play around with, which I think is great. And then last but not least, as we get towards the bottom of these as well, they've also done another fantasy addition to the collection. Although I think it's just below this one, yeah. So you've got this really. I've got that scene. Oh, it's really nice. It's so good. Oh, it's so nice. They're really cool. And you've got some fallen warriors. So you've got some casualties, and then last but not least,
the dragon.
King Beowulf versus the dragon, and that's the one that's based on the artwork by Skelton, which I think is really cool.
Now, is this funded yet?
I can't remember.
Not at the
time that I was looking at it. It's not funded, but it possibly is going to be funded by the time you look at it and are watching this show.
Better be funded.
Yeah. Well.
Why? Oh, I see your selection, Jerry.
Don't worry about my selection.
It should be noted that like a great team has worked on bringing this to life. So they've had help from the people from Eureka Minis and Temple of the West, who we've talked about before. They've helped them with the process of exactly how to bring the metal models to the tabletop. They're also going to be working with a company that will help them with the plastic production of some of the elements. So horses are going to be done in plastic, and dragons going to be done in plastic as well, which I think is really cool. So yeah, very nice stuff there. Very cool if you're a Beowulfy Dark Agey fan, I think. So yeah, very good.
More people should be. Why would you not be?
Exactly. It's an epic poem that is definitely worth reading or listening to.
So, either or playing.
Or playing, yeah.
So that's the best way.
We looked at Age of Beowulf a couple of weeks ago. Great characters to start using in that. There we go. Yeah.
Incorrectly, obviously. But there you go. Yes, Medbury Miniatures, Tales of Beowulf. 19 days left. Fund it. Come on. Do it. Do it for me. Don't worry about it.
Don't leave Jerry hanging.
Casual. Yeah. Really don't. I'll catch you.
Jerry's for life, not just for Christmas.
That's the way it goes. Right. That wraps us up for another week.
It does.
We shall return next Friday. If that's too long to wait.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. We'll be back on Sunday over on tabletop.com for the Cult of Games.
God. We will.
The Brothers Johnston are joining us.
Oh, my.
What sights we will see.
You are not prepared.
No, you're not. If you are not already a cultist, you can join us for a 30-day trial. Give it a swizz, see what you make of it. I promise it's not always like that. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.